Tomorrow is Maundy Thursday, and there's lots to think about on that day, lots to remember. So today I've chosen to think about just part of that evening, part of that time together. Jesus was gathered with his 12 disciples, ready to celebrate the Passover feast. Passover feasts were special times when friends and family came together, but this was going to be a meal like no other. I'm going to focus today on the interaction between Jesus and Judas. The reading today is from John's Gospel, chapter 13. Jesus was troubled in spirit and declared, "Very truly I tell you, one of you will betray me." The disciples looked at one another, uncertain of whom he was speaking. One of his disciples, the one whom Jesus loved, was reclining next to him. Simon Peter therefore motioned to him to ask Jesus of whom he was speaking. So, whilst reclining next to Jesus, he asked him, "Lord, who is it?" Jesus answered, "It is the one to whom I give this piece of bread when I have dipped it in the dish." So when he had dipped the piece of bread, he gave it to Judas, son of Simon Iscariot. After he received the piece of bread, Satan entered into him. Jesus said to him, "Do quickly what you are going to do." Now no one at the table knew why he said this to him. Some thought that because Judas had the common purse, Jesus was telling him, "Buy what you need for the festival," or that he should give something to the poor. So after receiving the piece of bread, he immediately went out, and it was night. It's interesting that we read that Jesus was troubled in spirit. He was uneasy because he knew what was about to happen that evening and over the next few days. Jesus announced that one of them in the room was about to betray Jesus. As you can imagine, this came as quite a shock to the group. Clearly there had not been any warning signs that one of their group was about to commit such a devastating act. The disciple who Jesus loved, we think this may have been John, was reclining next to him. Reclining is an important detail. Slaves of the household sat or stood for the meal, but those who were free reclined. There was an intimate sharing of words between Jesus and the disciple reclining next to him, a lovely picture of close friendship. This picture of close friendship comes right alongside an intense picture of the betrayal of a friend. Jesus knew that one of his friends was going to betray him, but it was not obvious to the others who that was going to be. Many of the paintings of the Last Supper make it very obvious about the one who will betray Jesus, by his clothes, by his body image, by the money bag, in all sorts of different ways. But it was not obvious to the other 11 there with Jesus that evening. Jesus treated him exactly as the others. He washed his feet as he did all the disciples. But he dipped a piece of bread and gave it to Judas as a sign to John. But the sign Jesus chose was special too. Dipping a piece of bread in a dish and passing it to someone was a sign of close friendship. And this was the sign that Jesus used to tell the beloved disciple that it would be Judas who would do this awful deed, a betrayal of trust and friendship. Even though Jesus knew who would betray him, no one else suspected Judas. When he left the meal, the others thought he was running an everyday errand. But Judas was going to be used by the forces of darkness to bring a charge against Jesus, the light of the world, a charge that would lead to his crucifixion. Jesus' death was the pivotal point of God's plan all along. We don't know why Judas did it, but Jesus knew exactly what was going to happen. Jesus said to him, "What you are about to do quickly." Jesus did not change the situation, nor did he stop loving Judas. What amazing, unconditional love Jesus had for Judas. Despite our best efforts, we too hurt Jesus. It may not be in such a landmark way as Judas did all those years ago, but we hurt him, we offend him, we fail him in different ways. Yet he never stops loving us. He loves us unconditionally and will forgive us whenever we say sorry to him. Sadly, Judas did not grasp this, and his life ended tragically. But Jesus wants to shine his light into our darkness. He brings his light into our dark world. He loves us unconditionally, and he forgives us whenever we come to him in repentance for the times we hurt and offend him. The light will go on shining in the darkness, and the darkness will not overcome it.